Welcome to Movmi. I'm Dave Fleeson, also known as Sun Tzu, and today we're going to take a look at how you retarget bones. So let's start off with the Movmi website. When you go into the web version, which is a link on the main page, it'll take you into this capture section. You click on the tasks on the far left here. And this is where, in the previous video, I showed you how to upload your video file so that you could turn it into motion capture. So now if we want to see the mocap once it's been completed and you have this green that you can see here on this top one, we have a view button. This shows you the dance move that was uploaded for motion capture. And I'm going to download both the character and animation as well as the animation. This one has the mesh rig to it, and this one has just the rig itself and animation without the mesh body. So we hit close. And that's that. And then let's go over here. We're also going to download this for Blender. It's a plugin called Blender Quick Map, and it lets us very easily do the remapping from one rig to another. So we're going to go to this green button here, and there should be a link for this on GitHub in our description for this video, but if not, it's basically go to GitHub and look for Blender Quick Map. So we go to code, and there are two ways that you can download. You can open it with the GitHub desktop app, or you can use the download of the zip file, which is what I'm going to do. I prefer to do that usually. So there's that, and then we're in Blender. Now, I use a few different versions of Blender. This one is called Blender for Artists. It's a little more set up for folks that work in other 3D applications like Maya. It's just a little bit more familiar for me, but it'll work about the same in any of the versions of Blender. When we come up here to edit, there is a place here at the very bottom, Preferences, and this is where we can click on the Add-ons tab, and there's at the top right here you have an install button. So that one that we just downloaded, let me go to my downloads. That was the Blender Quick Map Master. I'm going to install the add-on. And once you install it, if you want it to automatically be activated, you can click over here where it has the little checkbox. Once you check it, you'll see over on the side here, now I have Quick Map installed. So, although sometimes I do notice that this doesn't always stay, I always click on Save and Load at the bottom here before I close out. If you don't see this on the side, I'll show you this little trick. If you close this, you have like a little almost invisible caret here. If you click on that, it pops that open, and now you have one here called Quick Map. And that's what we're going to use for the rigging. So we're going to import our file. I made an avatar from a place called Ready Player Me. And I got that on my desktop. Okay, so here it is in GLTF format. It's a GLB file. I click on that and I import it. And there's my character. And if it comes in and it doesn't have textures to it, don't worry. There are shaders up here. The one that has like the red and white pattern checkered board. And you click on that, that comes in. You can see what he looks like. See? So he's in here now and we can see him. If I want to focus on him, I can focus. Then the other one I want to bring in, but I'm going to move this guy off to the side, is I'm going to bring in a skeleton. File, import. And this is the ones that we just made when we did the motion capture. So it's going to be what Movmi uses for their format, which is FBX. And if you're not familiar with the GLTF stuff, it's very similar to FBX, but FBX is more of a proprietary Autodesk format. So GLTF will probably be taking its place very soon here in the near future. So let me see. These ones I put into a folder. Movmi animations, and I have two files here. One's 2.1 megabytes and the other one's 133 kilobytes. So the one that's smaller is just the rig without the mesh. So I'm going to go ahead and select that one, but you can do this with either one, I believe. So we bring it in here and we have the two of them. In fact, if we want to turn off the mesh just to see the rigs, we can go up here. There's a little eyeball here up at the top right here above your icons. I go here and you can see all these ones here have eyeballs next to them. If I turn off the mesh, I can see just what the rig itself looks like. You know, so if you want to do any comparison. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back on so that it'll be obvious we're coming from this rig to this one, and I'll show you the animation as it plays. So we want to take that animation and put it onto that character. So I'll pause this and rewind it to the beginning. Alright, oh, and if you don't see this at the bottom too, let me show you that. It's hidden, so you just simply go to this line here at the very bottom of the screen and pull up, and that shows you your animation timeline. Okay, so here we have the character we wanted to start with is the one that we want to target it from the animation to go to. So we click on the skeleton for that one and we say generate control, and then as you can see here it shows target is missing. Again, this is in the quick map on the right hand side here if you didn't have it opened already, and it has like a little eyedropper here. I can click on the eyedropper, and if you have a mesh character in here with a rig on it, remember always select the rig, not the mesh. So I selected the rig for that, so now it knows I want it to come from this rig and go onto that rig. Now we don't need to do all of the files that are here, we just need to do certain ones, not all the bones. So we're going to start off with the hips. You can see the hips are selected in the top part here. Then we're going to go down into this bottom part and we're going to type, we want this one to go to the spine. See, the rigs aren't always named the same way, and sometimes they have different bones depending on the needs for where the rigs are being used. So it's not uncommon for things to be a little bit different, but you just have to figure out which bones are needed and what are the bones that correspond to them. Alright, so this one is spine, and it's going to go to spine 001. So I click on this and I can see the spine 001. Then we're going to go to spine 1 up on the top part here, which is the mesh guy. Okay, that's the Ready Player Me character, and he's going to go to spine point 002. And don't try to memorize all this. There will be a handout that gives you specifics on what a basic alignment is when you're remapping the bones. It might vary a little bit depending on what rig you're using, but it'd be very similar. Next one we have is the head. So we're going to skip down these ones all the way to the head. And on the head, we're going to map that to spine 006, which is the last of the spines. Okay. Wow, that didn't come out right, did it? That didn't look right. Huh. I'll have to see how it goes as we go by. Just noticing his neck's awfully far up. We'll have to see. Maybe there's a difference on this one from the other one I was using. Alright, so the next one we have is the left arm. So we're going to go down to the left arm. And we call it the upper arm instead of, so I'm just going to type arm. Upper arm left. And then the left forearm, that's going to be a forearm left. So forearm point L. Okay. And then we're not doing the hand or the fingers at all. Those are not currently mapped. So we're going down to the right arm. And the right arm is going to be the upper arm R. So we're going to look for arm. And it's the upper arm R. And then the right forearm, that's going to be a forearm as well. And forearm.R. So as you can see, we're matching it up to that. Then the next one we're going to do, we're going down to, skipping all the hands and fingers and thumbs, is the left up leg, which is the top part of the leg, which is also known as the thigh. So yes, we're going to make that thigh point L, because it's the left one. And then the leg, that's going to be the shin. So we're going to go shin L. Alright. Don't need to do the feet or the toes. That part's not being done. So then when we have the right up leg, again, that's going to be a thigh area. So that's thigh.R. And then the right leg, that's going to be a shin. So that's shin.R. Okay. So there we go. Now you notice he looks kind of strange. Well, we still need to do some things with rotations. And we also need to set some of these buttons. So you notice that they have 2 buttons next to each one that we changed. Those are 2 things that we're telling it. The first one here is source follow location. So we could actually move it a little bit so that it's not at the exact same point that it was originally. If we wanted to offset it a little bit. But we can set it so that it won't follow it from the original. And then the other one here is source follow rotation. Alright, we're going to leave all the rotations, the second one on, so they're going to stay blue, but the first ones we're going to turn them all off except for the very first one, which is the hips. You'll see how this suddenly becomes looking a lot more human. I know it seems almost like we're doing a Gumby thing with it when we do this at times. There we go. Okay, so that's how we want it. Just the hips are turned on in the first button for location, and for rotation, all of them are blue. We left them alone on the second icon. Okay, so next thing we got to do is we have to make some relative rotation changes. All right, so at the bottom here, you can see we have some parameters for the first grouping is called relative rotation, and the second one is relative location. We're only going to do this second one down, which is relative rotation for Y. So we're going to do that on a few of these. So first one, like I said, we'll have notes on all this so that it gives you basics for when you're doing your changes, because I know this isn't easy to memorize. Left up leg. So we're going to do the legs first. So I click on the left up leg, and as you can see, it's got the icons here. And the second one down, we're going to change this to 180. So you can see how it's 0, 180, and 0 on the rotation. Then we're going to do the same thing for the left leg. Make that 180 on the Y for rotation. And now we're going to do it for the same exact thing for the right. We're going to make it 180 for the Y rotation. And for the right leg, same thing, Y becomes 180. As you can see, his legs now look normalized. So now we're going to do the arms. Go back up. And we start with the left arm. And this is going to be, instead of 180, we're going to rotate it 90 degrees. So we go to Y on the rotation. Again, the second one down, 90, hit return. You can see it's there. Go to the left forearm and do the same thing. Set that for 90. And that turned his arm and made it normalized. Now, on the other side, the right arm, which is on the left side of the screen, we go to the right arm. We're going to make this, instead of 90, we're going to do opposite, minus 90. And then we're going to do the same thing for the right forearm. Minus 90. Okay, and now his hands are facing the right direction. We can take a look around. Everything looks like it's basically been worked out. And now we can play the animation and see. And there you see it. Now, if you wanted to just see him without the skeleton, I'll show you how to do that as well. We come up to the top here where they have the eyeball up here, and I can turn off the mesh so it's just the skeletons, or if I want to turn off the armatures, there's one here which is the rigs, and then those little blocks that you see for making the adjustments, those are under empty. So when I turn off empty and armature, now it's just the character. So now we can see our character dancing.